Do you expect me to talk? No, Dr. Bashir, I expect you to die. Here on Bajor Please, a dramatic secret agency visits to Bajor today. My name is Joseph.
It's a Cardassian-designed space station. Of course they wouldn't know you need to have a doorknob to be able to put a sock on so people stay out of your jerk-off sessions. I'm your co-host, Peter.
And technological incompatibility is a major part of this week's plot.
Mm-hmm. Maybe once we get rid of doorknobs and it's just automated doors, there'll be a light-up LED light that is just a sock.
I do have to see if there's some sort of bad recorder version of the James Bond theme that I made this week's theme music.
Oof.
We'll see. We'll see if something's out there. Before we get into that, though, we do need to clear the decks for a moment because we're a rare treat here. You know, Peter, you've got a story, and the text message you sent me was, "Don't forget to ask me about Burger King." So I'm here to ask.
It's not a story. This is just a little check-in. You know.
Okay.
Our podcast about fast food and gas stations that occasionally we talk Star Trek instead. You know, the byline of our production here, credit where credit's due. This whole thing that came up because the artificial person that is the CEO of McDonald's doing that god-awful little clip of him eating the Big Arch.
Yes. Of course,
and the
yes.
radioactive disaster that became for McDonald's, and what happens as a company when you just surround yourself by yes men and there's no one there to say you have no ability to connect with the general U.S. population that we are trying to sell these ridiculous $10 sandwiches to. Absolutely, please stick to your kale and
your healthy eating.
Your
Send
blood
transfusions to do a chud's work.
Whatever crazy Silicon Valley shit you get up to during the day, like, you are absolutely not what we need being behind a hamburger eaten on camera, sir. But he did that, and this was a while ago, and the first person to throw a punch from a big, company was Burger King CEO, and I really enjoyed watching everybody take time shitting on this guy, the McDonald's CEO. But
their Burger King guy had a lot of panache to it. Like, he had a whole apron on.
He did. And he really seemed like he was in the trenches trying to pull this thing, Burger King, out of the gutter. And Burger King had really gotten bad to the point where, we spent a long time shitting on it, or I had to spend a long time shitting on it here. So it's interesting to me to see, like, when you have upper leadership changes that are both quick to throw the previous administrations under the bus, because there's a whole commercial they had out, like, we used to be great and then we got shitty and we strayed. I didn't care for them making fun of the Burger King. Remember that, like, big crazy mask guy?
Oh yeah.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was some very on brand late Gen X humor there. I mean, it's nothing compared to the little Quiznos.
Oh, the little goblin or whatever.
Goblin. I think that's that's appropriate. But A, the past marketing stunk. B, we understand our food product is trash and we're going to try and turn it around. So I fell in this rabbit hole just looking at people eating fast food hamburgers and talking about the Whopper. And I said, fuck it. I went, and there's a Burger King.
You got me. It worked.
Yeah. I will give you $11 for a combo meal this one time so I can eat it and hate it and whatever. But I found this Burger King by me, and it's staffed by a bunch of old ladies, like a bunch of old lunch ladies.
Okay.
And the place is clean and nice in there.
I was going to say, like, that's actually that's a solid benefit. That's like you're into the best possible version of the experience.
And that's, all these fast food places, Popeyes, Wendy's, whatever, like, the test kitchens put out great stuff. It's, can you get the brain dead people that you've suckered into working for whatever you're paying hourly to give a shit enough to make it somewhat close to the instructions?
And Popeyes is particularly difficult because I think there's some sort of corporate rule that they have to be located in places you'd expect a dice game to break out.
Except for that Ashland one that's halfway between Columbus and Cleveland. Like, that Ashland, Ohio one's real nice. And I'll tell you what else. Columbus is home of Wendy's. So, like, the flagship corporate store is across the street from their headquarters. And usually it's, like, amazing.
Right, of
I went
course.
last night. It wasn't great. Anyways, Burger King. I had that new Whopper, and it was fucking legit. And somehow that
Really?
went from it like I like Whoppers again. All this
Oh
5
my!
minutes and 30 seconds to say that the Burger King has regained me as a customer, and whatever they did to change the Whopper worked. And check it out. I don't
I
know.
might have a long road to hoe to convince my wife to go for that because she is a dyed in the wool Burger King hater. But I mean, if it's getting the Peter seal of approval, you're difficult to impress. So
Now
it's
listen
getting
again. I had a bunch of nice old grandma lunch ladies make mine.
true.
Right. This is the atypical Burger King staff composition here.
You gotta pick your spots probably with it. Like, don't go to the Burger King next to the Popeyes.
Yeah.
Go to the Burger King in the deep suburbs.
Yeah.
That's where you want to go.
Take a look around. Do you see an Aaron's, a Rent-A-Center, or a Sally Beauty discount supply? If so, skip that Burger King.
Skip that Burger King. Absolutely. You can always go to the Chick-fil-A though. A Chick-fil-A is always is always solid no matter where it is.
Culver's. Have we talked about Culver's?
I don't think we have. I don't think most people know what Culver's is.
Culver's is huge in Wisconsin, butter burgers. And that's where I first had it, was when we would drive out to the Vampire LARP in Milwaukee in January. And they pushed out this way. And they have like the same hiring practices as Chick-fil-A, where either they're hiring out of a cult or a church or something, but it is very nice people always working in these things. And the food quality, like the consistency of food quality, is always excellent. And I'll tell you, we went to the Wendy's corporate last night, and it was not good. I don't know what's going on with them, but initially we had tried to go to Culver's up in Dublin, and they have a huge dining room, and that thing was, every single seat was packed. I've never seen a fast food restaurant with this many people trying to have dinner with their family in it. It's crazy.
I mean, the food, you pay for it, right? Like, you're paying for the food quality.
You're not though, man. I spent almost $40 at fucking Wendy's for like bullshit little hamburgers. So you're paying for it everywhere.
If it's priced like Wendy's, I guess you're right. Like, that is way worth it. But yeah, I mean, the food quality at a Culver's is just like not comparable to most fast food in the United States. Like, it's just on a different level.
Fast casual. I don't even know what to.
Yeah,
it's good, and check it out. I don't know.
Maybe like, if you don't know what Culver's is, it's like it's focused on burgers and fries, cholesterol basically. But the milkshakes are like, they're a huge delta.
Custard,
and just the quality of the burgers themselves are just,
they got stuff like Reubens and fish sandwiches and like really good chicken. I mean, it's all good across the board. I would say we should do some sort of Patreon content or some sort of special one-off review, but I think this is basically the entire conversation right here, and that's, you don't get a double chin by not knowing your way around a hamburger. Or
we've got a lot of foreign fans. We have to represent the American stereotypes somehow.
Yeah.
In any case, speaking of, I don't know, stereotypes.
Listen, the Russian stereotype is there, bad accent and all.
What did we watch this week?
We watched, in case you didn't know, Nana Vister and Sadiq fuck off camera.
But what is it actually called?
Our man Bashir. This is season 4, episode 10, first aired November 27th, 1995. Story by Bob Gillen, teleplay by Ronald Moore, directed by Rick Colby. In-universe date 2372.
I have a boomer dad, and you know that I have a boomer dad because my 3 favorite pop culture things are Star Trek, Westerns, and James Bond. And Westerns have obviously been intertwined with Star Trek from the beginning. The original series is called Wagon Train to the Stars for a reason. This is the first time James Bond has entered into Star Trek, and I love it. I love this episode. I love everything about its production. I love everything about its writing. I love every stupid little detail that they took the time to put into this thing. And I said in the last week's episode, the big disappointment is that MGM threatened to sue Paramount over this. So this episode came out 10 days before Goldeneye did in theaters. So there's a lot of, Bond coming back hype that they purposely decided they wanted to tap into by doing this as an episode in this season. And that's why they put so much effort into this, because they intended actually for this to be the regular holodeck episode thing. It was Julian Bashir, super spy, as a some sort of gimmick. So they built all of these sets. They spent all this time, energy, and money to create the things that they could come back and do this. And then when MGM threatened to sue them, they never did it again.
How do you successfully threaten legal action? I mean, there is no use of the name Bond or MI6 or any other known formal Bond IP nouns invoked, is there?
For something to be copyright infringement does not require you to use a copyrighted phrase. You have a British-speaking man who says he's a secret agent for the United Kingdom. He has female companions, all of which have double entendre names that reference some sort of sexual act. He's engaging in high technology, fantasy style, end of world plots against supervillains that he has to thwart, up to and including giant lasers. Even the music sounds like Bond music mixed with Deep Space Nine music on purpose. Anyone that works in entertainment law would know exactly what this is intending to essentially parody.
Dude, I don't buy it. Is there a picture of the cease and desist letter on the wiki?
Apparently, this was handled via phone calls and
Sounds
not
like bullshit,
letters. But it was not bullshit. Like everyone talked about, like, we got told by the studio we're not allowed to do this again. Like the Paramount threw the fucking brakes on, even after they invested a lot of money because they liked the idea.
The amount of James Bond knockoff shit out there, just like outright mocking it. And let's see, when did Venture Brothers come out? It had to be like 99. Because they bark right up that tree. So the only way I can buy this story is if this is one of the last big attempts that a big studio made to try to like bully people from an IP before someone else was like, fuck you, try to actually sue me, and like showing and defanging that play.
Who knows? It's hard to litigate what the legal threat was 30 years after the fact. You're right. Like we have no particular information as it relates to what was said. Just merely that the message was passed down, that there was a serious threat made.
It could also be one of these like, it's a bragging right. Like we didn't want to make more of these after all, but we were told by the studio to do it, and we were threatened with legal action. What a fun story there. That'll be fun for the nerds to talk. I don't know. It did seem clear to me that they were going to bring this back, and that's an unfortunate thing that Deep Space Nine has a habit of now. Hey, here's something you kind of enjoyed. I will definitely be back in more adventures of Julian Bond, international spy. Put that right on the shelf next to, don't worry, Thomas Riker, we are absolutely going to come back and get you. Put that up next to the Vaudoir, although the Vaudoir weren't really, effectively promised for more, but
they were. It's not the last we've seen of them. Secretly, this was in fact the last that we saw of them.
It was.
But I adore that people who love James Bond made this. From the fact that the valet was named Mona Loves It, like, to the fact that he's got his apartment in Hong Kong back when that was still part of the British Empire. Just the little gadgety gun that he pulls out of his shoe, just without even a single word of comment about the fact that he has it.
Well, listen, he's already been like, hey, I've got earrings on my girlfriend that I can toss and blow up. So,
but are you a Bond fan? Like, I don't actually know if you watch James Bond movies or not.
I thought I was until I just sit down and try to watch Bond movies, and I'm just like, these are fucking terrible. Um, Goldeneye was real big for me. Uh, just kind of as this, movie that was out there that rebooted the franchise, and I really liked the Daniel Craig Casino Royale, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But then like all the follow ups to each of those movies, I thought were weak and flawed, and just like very easy to turn off.
And I love James Bond, but I'm also self aware that like you have to like the James Bond tropes. You have to like the pattern of a James Bond movie to like Bond movies. And if you don't, if it's not for you, it's not for you, right? Like it's a very kind of fantasy reality,
It's a
super
fantasy,
spy, science
idealized
fiction.
self, and then
Yeah.
you take the later stuff too, and it's just like I feel like I'm watching a commercial for a bunch of high end luxury shit that like rich assholes are going to go out and buy because of this movie.
Yeah, and the Daniel Craig movies are more grounded. They're more like the Jason Bourne movies on
Sure, yeah.
purpose. I feel like a lot of them are. I shouldn't say a lot. Two of them are very good. One of them is mid. The other two are bad. Um, but the Pierce everything through the Pierce Brosnan era follows a very similar pattern, which is kind of striking when you think about it. Like they made those movies for almost 40 years, several different people making Bond, several different actors playing Bond, several different eras of cinema, yet still very reliably kind of the same thing each time, albeit kind of changed and updated for whatever era it was occurring in. Like
I forget who did the interview. It was Idris Elba, and they hit him with the question, how is it, or how does it feel to be everybody's favorite James Bond?
yes,
And he did not take that in good stride at all.
I mean, people have talking about him playing James Bond for 20 years.
Sure, yeah.
And it's I I understand why, because he's kind of got that suave debonair Britishness to him, but yet still like a very striking physical presence.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like they would like work in a very different way. But going from all the way, from the beginning, Doctor No, through when this was made, right before Goldeneye, and then the Pierce Brosnan area, and ending with Die Another Day, like this kind of nails. It's definitely specifically targeted at the Sean Connery era, Doctor Noah, Doctor
Mm-hmm.
No, kind of. It's in the '60s, but it's still like this could have been Roger Moore, this could have been Timothy Dalton, and it would have still worked kind of in the same way, no matter what era the Hollow Suite program was aimed at, and that's what I really adore about it. From the shot composition, the cinematography, the names of the characters, the costumes, it is made by people who understand what James Bond is, and that this is a Hollow Suite program designed for you to get to play that role.
Absolutely.
Well done. The plot itself, I actually also think is quite a clever little fun side story Star Trek plot, particularly actually still using Deep Space Nine as a very unique platform rather than making it feel like a leftover TNG episode. Because it's really about how, we've got all these transporter signals, and the only way we can preserve them, because neural patterns are so complex, is that we have to delete everything from every single piece of computing hardware to store it. And then have to like build physical connections with the computer into the Defiant to somehow solve this problem.
It's a hell of a ramrod, and it's a excellent setup for a zany plot. And we have had several my friends have been turned into something else now episodes, and they've all been trash, usually involving Julian Bashir in some sort of either Herman's Head capacity, or I mean there was the Trill out joining, or whatever the hell it was called. That was a pretty solid way to like cast your people in different things, but this had real legs under it for the setup. And I would say my only criticism to the exposition of why Miles O'Brien's body is now being inhabited by uh, a right hand man murder thug. a lot of this, you're held in the pattern buffer until you rematerialize, but something bad happened. The transporter's fucked. So we can't rematerialize. We got a long-term story. These guys. This was the Scotty episode.
Correct. Yes. Relics.
And Scotty's bullshit school bus from 80 years ago was able to hold everybody for a long time until finally, decades later, it fell apart.
It was able to hold him and one other guy, and the other guy died. So it really only held him.
Well,
so he, a technical genius that has not been, whose equal has never been met in all of Star Trek, was able to save himself. But you've got, Call the Conqueror and Odo and Quark and Rom are the ones that gotta handle this right now. Oh no. We've
the throwaway line of dialogue there would have been, if this was a Federation starship, we this would not be an issue. The space station is not set for computing needs like this. We got to get dirty and creative.
They kind of imply that. They just don't necessarily say that explicitly.
Well, again, when you've got relics and you've got a couple other things where you've long-term held people in the pattern buffers, like whatever. But that's such a minor concern in this thing. Just Ron Moore always has, I think, great spackle. And yeah, just the physical set prop game in this with extension cords and data cables all over the fucking place are great. I enjoy all the stuff on the station. I'm less warm to this episode. I didn't dislike it, but like I'm sitting here scratching my head like, what the fuck are we going to talk about?
You gotta be a Bond fan to really love this thing. And it is a very unique combination, right? Like if you don't love both of these things, you're probably like, okay, this is fine, right? Like fun little adventure thing. You get to see Quark and Rom like try and help solve problems on the station for a change. You get to see Garrick and Bashir, trade barbs with each other, which is always entertaining. But
sure,
after that, who cares? Oh, and we get to see a lot of tits, right? Like we get to see everybody looking good. But after that, like who cares? But
for me, the best part of the episode is just the exploration into 24th century fantasy indulgence, and that how interesting that the human perspective on entertainment in a conversation that is accessible to you and me continues to be done through Julian Bashir.
That's true.
The most powerful, relevant, I think, lines of dialogue he had was criticizing Earth's media in its current format, that there's been this stagnation creatively out of Earth, and that humanity is just kind of trapped adapting other species plays into like,
and the idea that he would be incredibly captivated by essentially playing James Bond in a holosuite, because it's probably something he's never experienced or thought of before, because again, it's the 24th century. James Bond is a 500-year-old IP. So his holo program creating Fred Felix is the one that always supplies him with these things. And he's like an ongoing unseen character.
Who is it?
Felix was another Bond reference. Felix Leiter is the CIA agent who's Bond's friend. And he's the one who made this program, and he makes other programs that end up showing up. And the fact that like Felix, an unseen character that we never get to know, but he's Julian's friend, finds a relic. He finds like an Ian Fleming novel, or he finds a copy of like, Goldfinger or something, right? And he decides to like make a holosuite program around this. This is ancient Earth literature and lore, right? This is ancient Earth entertainment. This is exactly the sort of thing Julian Bashir is kind of wanting based on that conversation.
Back when we had creativity.
And here he won't leave it alone. That's what like Garrick says. Like, I haven't been able to talk to you in days because you spent all your fucking time in here. What the hell is this thing? I have to know.
Let's look at it more because this Bond lifestyle, this Bond genre should really fly in the face of everything that post-scarcity Federation value should be, right?
Correct.
You've got this not misogynist, but like it was very toxic masculinity, or not that those were words back then, but like you've got this guy who's incredibly violence prone, whose life is built around lies, the throes of capitalism and materialism, especially setting it back in the 60s, objectification of women, blah, blah, blah. Like, what a piece of taboo software this thing should be to any of the people that are wearing Starfleet uniforms, right? Like, just the antithesis of what you guys are striving to be.
But at the same time, we know from past experience, TNG and even in Deep Space Nine, we have determined that there is a strong understanding in the Federation, at least among Starfleet officers, that fantasy is not reality.
No, no,
And
no.
Barclay is the exception, right? Like Barclay's the guy who doesn't seem to understand
Sure.
this.
But I'm just saying, like, that should be part of his captivation in this, is like, this is really something that I've never had access to. And where do you draw the line there on that kind of stuff too? Like, saying fantasy, there should still be, and I'm not saying I want a holodeck episode where they're just like, oh my God, look at how objectifying her dress is, or look how bad this stereotype is. Like, I'm not looking for that. But yeah, you do bring some degree of like moral compass into these programs they're running. Probably as evidenced by the fact that you don't ever see any of these guys running like World War II simulators where they're on the German side, that they leave that for the bad guy, the Hirogen, to do, right?
Right.
I don't think I don't know, maybe
It would have been so
Lon
much better if like the Voyager crew had shown up as like liberating Nazis.
And I was thinking about that too through the episode, because there's so much Tom Paris in this thing. Tom Paris being the holodeck aficionado who is quick to embrace old media and be these dashing, daring heroes or whatever. And whereas I think Tom Paris was frequently insufferable, or maybe it's because he had Harry Kim along with him for the rides. Like, watching Bashir go through it. But I think Bashir is much more willing to become fully immersed in the role play, whereas a lot of times Tom Paris would be presented as someone who's just going along with it with a smile on his face. So the LARPer in me loves the setup of this episode. The LARPer in me always loves the thrill and the potential of what the holodeck could really represent, and seeing that Julian Bashir has lost himself in a video game for the better part of a month at this point.
Yeah. Mr. I was up playing Fallout 4 until what,
4:30
yeah.
this morning. That's why we're recording late.
So yeah, I think we both acknowledge this. It makes sense given what they've talked about before. And of course, Garrick just deciding to invite himself in, and that Bashir is offended at the breach of his privacy, but is unashamed.
Absolutely.
He's unashamed of his fantasy life. There's not one moment in this entire episode where Bashir appears to be self-conscious about his fantasy.
Yeah, because he's keeping his pants on. All right. And he's pissed that Garrick shows up right as he's about to lay some dick. And I don't blame him. It's like, dude, how long have you been lurking over there, and you're waiting until I'm about to take my pants off to put it in, to pop in here. What's the best part of this episode for me is this moment where he's like, get the fuck out. What you are doing is, believe it or not, on this station, illegal. And this is the same part where a Tomb Raider in front of the chief of police said, I'm going to kill Quark. I'm going to kill this motherfucker. I'm going to hang out here. He's responsible for the death of my brother. Other Degra, and I, bonus Degra, and I'm telling you, law enforcement, I'm going to kill this guy. And they're like, ugh. But if you walk into someone's X video stream,
that's a crime.
That's illegal.
It's actually illegal. It opens with, there's a dramatic James Bond style moment where he's about to, get the girl, one of many attractive women in this episode, dressed in Bond appropriate gear.
Well, hold on. Before we go in deeper on that, just to finish out this thought about Garrick's intrusion and why there's pushback from Bashir. Like, like things were about to get sexy, and that's the punchline joke there too. But like, it's hard role playing in front of normies, right?
Yes.
Like, I would want none of my professional I don't want anybody who's not a part of the game to like know me and see me doing. It's such an immersion breaker for me. It is impossible. So I very much understand Bashir's outrage there, and I felt like him including Garrick wasn't a I'm not ashamed of anything going on here, but if I made you run off, then that's going to be something you can cause problems with, like that now I'm giving you something to lord over me. So we'll just have a milk toast 2 hours before I have to go to work to get you out of here, and then I'll have more fun later on.
There's a great Bond quip as he knocks out the henchman with the champagne cork. A lot of pomp for a 45 Dom. Just again, like, okay, we're gonna do every single James Bond trope we possibly can, including the goofy quips. Like, the music is just a fucking all-star in this thing, because they purposefully like took Deep Space Nine sounding soundtracks and then kind of gave it that sort of Bond sort of high percussion steez, stings, and made it sound like it was a combination of the two throughout to heighten the tension of the ridiculous action sequences. Like, especially like when they did the fight scene and like when they're escaping from the cave and that sort of thing. That we hear that first pop here, and that's when Garrick shows up, as we've already talked about, invites himself in. Uh, really wanting to understand what it is that has captured Julian's attention so utterly, and of course, he's got this kind of weird sort of sense of entitlement to understanding Julian because this is how he shows his friendship. And they go about continuing the simulation. Like, Julian's like, fine, you know what? You can be part of my fantasy if you really want to, Garrick. I got a couple hours. Why not? The B plot is that a runabout with all of the rest of the main characters is coming back from a conference. And apparently, there's a Cardassian group called the True Way that is rather upset at the Federation for being the proximal cause of what they see as their decline of their civilization, and has set up this Winnebago to explode dramatically just as it arrives back at Deep Space Nine. And it is Eddington who's trying to save the day.
I was so delighted to see a runabout because I figured, like, oh, it's just one or two of these guys. Look at that. We're being reasonable. There's a conference, and we didn't send the Defiant. And then I saw it was the entire main cast, and I was like, well, I think we have to discover why we could not use the Defiant here very quickly. Oh, we needed a sacrificial lamb. The one mission that should have had the Defiant, because you have your entire upper command structure going to the same place, and just this exact thing here. Whoopsies, we're going to blow it up. I liked the True Way, the idea of this Cardassian terror cell. Except, don't you guys have something better to do right now than be butthurt with the Federation? Like, aren't you being actively occupied by Klingons? Like, you guys want to go be violent and cause some shit. Maybe you go help out like all of the colonies that have been seized by the Cardassian or by the Klingons, who just stomped a hole in your ass before the Federation swooped in and saved Cardassia Prime.
Terrorists are not necessarily known for their forward thinking, so that tracks. They just are violent against people they don't like. Got it. It's enough of an explanation, right? It's the right amount of spackle. All right, sure. We understand why this happened.
Sure.
So Eddington tries to beam everyone on board. It blows up in the middle of the beam out process. They're all in the buffer, and Odo's like, our buster ass Cardassian pattern buffer isn't going to be able to hold them very long. And so Eddington dumps the memory from the entire station to be able to store their neural patterns. So what this ultimately ends up manifesting as is, because the holodeck was running, and it is designed, as they, again, spackled quite well, to hold complex physical patterns, that is where the computer chose to store the physical patterns, in the parameters of the characters in the simulation that was already running. And it's not that you can't turn it off, it's that if you turn it off, you might delete all of their patterns. So Julian has to keep it running. Their mental patterns are everywhere else. And it's actually Rom who puts all of this together as the sort of secondary tech genius that he has continued to be developed as. That he's great at the jury rig. He's great at the making it work. And Quark actually is also the one who points out, the complexity of these patterns having to be stored in the quantum level means it's what is in the rest of the station's databanks right now.
What's interesting is that Quark is barely turning a profit on the holosuites, because that's really what he's defined quarks as, and like the service he pushes. Like, see, just
it's like the shows that Las Vegas run. They're only there to make sure you gamble more.
That's a great point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got the shows. Don't really make money on them. Don't care. Why? Because I'm making a ton of money at that blackjack table, right? Like those slot machines print it for me.
When's the last time you went to Vegas?
For my 40th birthday.
Was that pre-COVID?
That was post-COVID. It was a couple years ago.
What were your thoughts on it? Because I was not at all impressed. I did not enjoy my time in Vegas. Like, I liked the Hoover Dam, and there was like, I liked having In-N-Out burgers, but like Vegas itself was very underwhelming. And I watched a YouTube video basically like how they've shifted the attention of Vegas, where they don't really care about the general public, and it's all like going after Dana Whites and like the billionaires.
So I used to love Las Vegas. I went with some frequency back when I think it was much more friendly to budget travelers. And if you're the kind of person who likes to gamble, but there's ways to gamble more effectively than others, and you can still kind of do that. I like staying downtown. Not to say like walking the strip and going around in those places, like the spectacle, like the shows. So, through my 20s and even to my early 30s, I enjoyed going, even I think I did my bachelor party there. So I say all of that reservedly because I mostly agree with your statement. I had a good time when I was there for my 40th, but that's because I spent a ridiculous amount of money to have a luxury experience because it was my 40th and that's what I wanted to do. I kid you not, I placed very highly in a competitive Magic tournament with a large cash prize, and I used that to pay for a cabana day at the Venetian where we were staying. And that was an incredible experience, right? Like I have my own air-conditioned cabana, all you can eat food and beverage where, well, not all you can eat. Like I was paying for it, but there's a certain minimum you have to meet.
Yeah, I remember the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was great. Our suite was great. Like the cultivated experience that I built for myself with large amounts of money was actually quite wonderful. However, I could tell like when we strayed away from that experience, like wasn't the spa day that I sent my mom and my wife on, or the dune buggy stuff that I did with my dad or whatever. It was definitely starting to show like it's fraying on the edges. Like this isn't what it used to be anymore. You really can't enjoy being here the same way you used to. And when you came back and told me your story, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like if you're going as like a normal guy, it's got to be kind of dingy, grungy, overpriced, and not at all as entertaining as it used to be.
Yeah.
I would avoid going to Las Vegas unless you're like the kind of person who wants to spend thousands of dollars in order to have a very boutique, rich, person-esque experience. And you really want to do that, then yeah, you can still do that there. But otherwise, no, I'd skip it. Anyway, there's our Las Vegas review to go with our Burger King review. So
look at us living this James Bond lifestyle of rich opulence.
Hey, listen, I played Pioneer Atarka Red at the right time. Made a few grand. That's what I paid. That's what I spent it on. I am not ashamed.
I waited until Whopper Wednesday. I got it on discount.
There you go. See, we got these tips for everybody. Yeah. So the physical patterns of everyone is now in the program, and we know this because it starts with Kira as. Hold on, I'm going to get this right. Because we meet Mona Loves It first, right? Like it's our first Bond girl who's the valet, who's wearing the very short skirt and low cut top. It's Anastasia Kalmanov, who is supposed to be essentially the From Russia with Love, The Spy Who Loves Me, Russian counterpart to James Bond, who's Kira. And of course, as you noted at the very beginning, at this point, Nana Vister and Senegal Faisal are fucking. And boy, they enjoyed themselves playing this. They're very comfortable with each other as they're playing these roles. Nana Vister always looks like $1 million in whatever you put her in. So, they put her in the femme fatale dress, and ain't nothing wrong with that. According to her, she loved doing the stupid, goofy, terrible Russian accent. There's some fun, like, Bond humor moments of like, oh, I wish I could relax you, and then like reaches behind the pillow and then like comes forward with the dossier for the mission, but we have work to do. Like, just stuff like that, right? This is still the goofy holosuite program that is following the plot of a Bond movie, and Bashir knows that, and Garrick does not. And that's where some of the other tension of the dialogue comes in, is that of course Garrick is criticizing all of this as like not at all reflective of what being involved in espionage is like. It's for the first time he's admitting like, I wasn't like this when I was in the Obsidian Order. He's just out with the fact he was a spy, which he hasn't been up to this point, and saying like, yeah, I did not join the right intelligence agency. Evidently, I had to work as a gardener and kill men in the bathroom. Like, this is a different life.
I guess that's really the B plot in all this, is Garrick saying, my culture is not a costume.
Yes. He's like mad. He's it. And then Bashir calls him out on it, right? Like, oh, you are he even says, like, Bashir is like, I'm play acting. I know this is fantasy. I know this is fake. And you're just offended because my fantasy is treading on what you believe is your domain, is your reality as an actual spy. And that's why you're pissed, is that I'm making fun of your life in a way by having this be my fantasy. Bashir is very self-aware in all of this, and I think it adds to his character a lot, that he is unafraid and unashamed of what's going on.
The tension in this episode comes from the fact that the crew is trapped in this pattern buffer, but it's a classic setup of, if you die in your dream, then you die in real life.
Right. And the safeties are off. So Bashir and Garrick are actually in danger. And any character that's actually killed is killed off in the story. And you kill off somebody whose pattern is presently a real person, they could die in real life. Yes.
Theoretically.
Yes.
If you open up the exit door, you could collapse the program, theoretically. And that's, again, just all the spackle you need there. There's as we know from the episode where they set up the subspace relay through the wormhole, that even a 1% chance of catastrophic failure is significant as far as Federation math goes. So Bashir's very much like, we will play this out. We're playing on nightmare difficulty right now. There's no do-overs.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
And we are going to try to save everybody. We have the most paragon of paragon playthroughs, because we're not even willing to transport. We can't transport people. There's this technology hardship. We cannot even pause the program, let people come in, or us attempt to leave. And if we do nothing, the story will progress around us and people will die. So Garrick is there to apply a critical pressure of like, we need to just, use math and basically cut our losses. And some people are going to die, and we're going to have to pick and choose who that is. I don't know if this is my favorite portrayal of Garrick. This is a Garrick who has flown against all odds. Garrick has never struck me as a quitter. And that was a hard part of dialogue of him being like, I'm alive because I know when to quit. And like, I think you are alive because you don't know when to quit. That's the whole point of this character, is that he wants things that he has difficulty accessing, and he has persevered through it regardless.
I think it's partially true in that, he is alive because he has bailed out at the right times. He is demonstrating a degree of, we'll call it, I don't want to call it cowardice so much as pragmatism, that, is supposed to help, I think, contrast for the sake of Julian's character more than anything else. Because it's Julian who's like, I have a duty to try and make sure we save everyone's life. And that means we have to play this playthrough strict. I've got to hit every note, and you've got to come along with me on this, because that's how we're actually going to succeed. And I don't think Garrick's acting out of character. I think he has loyalty to very specific people, but I don't think he's particularly attached to, say, like Cisco's life or Brian's life or Dax. The person he cares the most about is Odo. Odo's not there. And then it's also Julian, who he's trying to get to leave. So it makes sense. But it's mostly there to help Bashir's character out, right? Because he makes that whole speech about you have to know when to quit, and then he uses that to buy the 2 minutes necessary by essentially purposefully losing the scenario in such a way that all of the characters survive to the end, just so that they can be a nick of time beam out. So it all works quite well. Dax is introduced as Professor Honey Bear. So we've got another Christmas Jones, Pussy Galore. We got like whatever you want to take your pick. O'Brien is Falcon, who's I think best represented actually by Austin Powers with the eye patch guy, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Duchamps, who's essentially LeSherf, who's Worf. A lot of smoking cigars in this, by the way.
Huge. They looked at Little Green Men, and everybody was like, I want to smoke on set.
Yeah, apparently the green light's on this season for that. Play Baccarat, which is a game no one in the United States knows, but is famous within the Bond movies, is the thing Bond actually plays in the novels. I know that obviously they got changed for Casino Royale and a poker, but it's probably more accessible to the audience they intended.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the goofy Bond gadgets. We've got bomb earrings. We've got little Derringer guns that you assemble from your shoe. And that bad guy who's played by Cisco is Hippocrates Noah. So, Dr. Noah. No, Hippocrates Noah. And of course, Noah's evil plan is to flood the earth. Really not we're doing it, right? Like we are playing by numbers here. And it's funny to see that, again, thinking about this is like Felix made this by watching a Bond movie and said, I can do that. Like I can take all of these pieces and I can recreate this experience in a hollow novel. And you can see how the creative process worked to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a hidden lair, but it is not in a volcano, but it can create volcanoes. It's on Mount Everest. There is an evil monologue plan to destroy the earth, again, like by literally washing in water like Noah. They are in fact tied to a laser that will result in their demise after an irreversible countdown. So we did that one.
Mm-hmm.
He manages to survive by essentially once again charming another woman's pants off, implied. I do love that apparently Terry Farrell is just very good at kissing on screen, because again, like it's her talent. She can do good stage kisses. She does one with sitting. And
can't let Nana have all the fun.
No, I got to spread that around.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it ultimately pays off with the big villainous showdown where the player is supposed to choose which love interest that they want to wind up with, right? Like that's, if you're thinking about like how's this actually supposed to go, is the player's like, I don't know, which of these broads do I actually want to bang at the end, right? Which one's my reward, right? Like which loot box do I open? Do I get the Russian girl or do I get the scientist girl? And because Julian knows that that's how it's supposed to end, he's like, I have to fuck this up. I have to get the bad ending somehow, so that everyone lives.
Mm. What a robust program to have so many multiple endings. Good job, Felix.
Yeah, you got if BioWare can do it with Mass Effect, then he can do it too. It gives you replay value. He keeps you coming back. You gotta see what the Russian playthrough looks like after you've done the scientist playthrough. But in the B plot, like you said, there's Rom runs a bunch of cables. Eddington's like, O'Brien's gonna fucking kill me for hot wiring the Federation ship with like these physical connections to this Cardassian overclocked computer that I've got access to be able to save everyone's lives. But then they pull it off, and the intention at the end, and with the whole this won't be the last time you see Julian Bashir, secret agent, was that everyone still has this like lingering appreciation for the program because they were all stuck in there for so long, subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all go and like everyone starts to play the roles within the fantasy when they go back to it. There's like a in joke to that of like, why do I want to monologue like an evil villain? Like it's like imprinted on them somehow. That's what they were gonna do.
Um, yeah, like the only real notes I have here is Dr. Noah, Hippocrates Noah or whatever. Real short-sighted vision where he's trying to destroy real estate. Like that's always the thing the supervillains have to be after. Yes. It's like this Lex Luthor, like, we're going to make new real estate. That's the only thing that they're not making more of is land. Well, I'm going to destroy all of the other land. Them saying when Ram and Nog, or when they get into the holodeck control janitor closet, and there's like spatulas and stuff built into this because they're good conductors.
It's a great conductor. It's a plasma conductor.
I loved all of that. I did see an L-Cars panel in there though, so tell me it's completely in.
But it looked like it was like put in. You know, it looked like it was an aftermarket edition.
It was a stolen pad that they needed the extra RAM off of. There's a real weak spot on the show for engineering. And we've seen that now because they keep grabbing Eddington, who is a security guy, and turning him into the backup engineer when O'Brien's not around. Do they ever get around to bringing in like a better engineer stand-in for O'Brien?
No, I don't think so.
That's twice now they've had to like shoehorn him into this role, and it's such a strange fit, especially when you just had Disaster and you've got Muniz and this other guy. Like,
you could have had Muniz doing it. You could have had the two Jamokes from Starship Down. You're absolutely right.
I get wanting to give a little bit of screen time to Krull, but
yeah, no, I like the use of Eddington here, right? Like you got to remind he's an officer. He's again good use of your recurring characters, right? Like we've got Garrick and Eddington kind of in this plot in ways that make sense and it doesn't feel out of place. Like that they're always there, right? They're just when they're not on camera, they're doing the thing
I mean, really it's Rom. Rom is your backup engineer, and that's what we've been reinforcing. Eddington
when I think about it, as time goes on, Rom is the person who winds up the backup engineer. He's
not wearing a uniform, but like Rom has been a capable engineer several times now, including Little Green Men, where he magicked them, through a. That's another thing too.
He did time travel recently. That's true.
He did time travel, and that's also almost back to back sabotage shuttlecraft. The goal is to get you to fly yourself apart. Like, as this is happening, I feel like, well, first of all, did Quark ever disclose to anybody in the main cast that, hey, by the way, I've just tainted your fucking your world's history?
I think they're never going to address anything that happened in Little Green Men ever again. But to your point, though, I think Nog is actually representative of the backup engineer. I think of it. Well, I said no initially because he doesn't put on a Starfleet uniform, but he definitely winds up being that guy as the time goes on.
I mean, he has saved the day here. But no, what I'm saying, like, when they're on the runabout and they're like, fuck, the brakes are cut and we're just going to blow up. Like, damn, this just happened to Quark. And here we are. We just fell in the same fucking trap. We got a better, vehicle trip inspection form that accounts for some of this warp core booby trapping. This is terrible.
That's true. It was, it's a family. Well, when it happened to Quark, it was that he had a family member that hated him and like gave him a bad ship.
Sure.
This is one where like someone put an inspection sticker on this runabout before it went out, who's definitely getting a bad review. Terrible employment review. Like, how'd you miss this?
I'm just saying these are back to back. Someone cut.
Why Muniz isn't in this episode? He's too busy dodging accountability for his actions.
Muniz is the Cardassian sympathizer. He's actually a Obsidian, or no, it wouldn't be Obsidian Order.
So, in lieu of talking about next week's episode by having you read the Memory Alpha, it has too many spoilers, so I'm going to summarize it instead as the lead out. It is Deep Space Nine, Season 4, Episode 11, Homefront, And all I'll say about the plot is Cisco is recalled to San Francisco after some things happen. I don't want you to know anything else. I want you to just watch it.
All right, I can do that.
Yeah, this is a big episode. This is a big time. Big things happen. We're out of the fun times. We're doing plots where we're traveling through time or having fun, little side quests in the Hollow Suite. We're back to the plot this week. It's showing up in real form. A lot of classic tropes make a reappearance. Ones you and I bonded over 15 years ago.
Uh-oh, naughty admirals.
You got it.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
So we'll see the return of Crazy Starfleet Admiral Syndrome, along with many other things, as we review Homefront next week. Thank you so much, everybody. See you then.